How much does Dak being hurt take away your ability to evaluate, the team's ability to evaluate? They can still get good work done before he comes back, can't they?
You can get work done, but I do think it's a lot harder for – a lot of positions you can probably still get the work done, but it's a lot harder for even the linebackers and secondary in coverage to get a look for – you can watch tape and be like, it looks like everybody had their responsibilities, right? It's just so much different when the ball goes into the air where it's supposed to go based on your defense and see, okay, but did we finish?
Yeah.
When you take Dak out of the equation out here, you can kind of cover it all, and the quarterback's either going to eat it or it's going to go where it shouldn't go, and I think it's tough. It's got to be tough for the receivers to keep running routes, and you win on a route.
So the first 2.5 seconds still matter.
Yeah,
after that, it's
but you don't get to evaluate, to me, what's the most important part. A lot of guys can more or less kind of cover, but what matters is the ball just went in the air. It's coming at me. I'm not in a perfect spot. The receiver, if he plays it right, might be able to make a play on the ball. Can I find it, locate it, finish? And you lose the opportunity to evaluate that because the quarterback's not out there to put the ball where it's supposed to be.
These quarterbacks are bad, Brian. Who is the? Do you want to answer that question?
No, I think Jeff totally hit the nail on the head there.
Who is the best player on offense not named Dak that you've seen out here, Brian?
Tyron Smith.
Tyron and CD, I think.
Yeah.
Do you think he can have a career that goes into his mid-30s, even if he's fighting his back?
Man, I tell you what, that's the thing that always scares me about Tyron Smith. I think they've got the neck, the shoulder thing done. The elbow, something totally new, but he wears that knee brace on his elbow. I just always worry about us, we're getting ready for a Cowboys pregame show, and all of a sudden we get a note from, it's Tom Pelisseri says Tyron Smith won't play today because of a back is locked up. I don't think that's something. I think he could try with the yoga and the strength and all that stuff and try and make it work. That's just the one thing that scares me about him. And you talk about playing in, further on. I hope the back allows him.
Because it's so damn good.
Yeah.
It is so damn good.
Yeah.
It'd be a shame if you lose him for more injuries. But right now we're heading in a great spot with the offensive line again. Best player on defense so far.
Oh, is it Gregory? Parsons?
I think Parsons is the one. So I think Van Der Esch in my eyes has really, really showed up well. I'll tell you what.
Diggs has been pretty good, but a little up and down.
Yeah. I think when you watch, we've talked a lot about Gregory. Parsons is the one guy that has done a lot, whether it's rush the passer, get an interception, play in coverage, whatever he has to do. I give him some high marks, but Van Der Esch coming downhill and playing the way he has, I give him a lot of credit.
Did they get it right with the defensive coaches after what you've observed?
Quinn, I don't pay enough, I guess, individual attention to the other coaches as they coach, but watching Dan Quinn early on, I'm a Dan Quinn believer for sure.
I'll tell you what, the secondary's played pretty well with, what we've seen. That was a big worry. And Joe Witt and his group have done a pretty nice job of making some plays every day, getting a little bit better in the practices and the drills and things like that. So I'm saying the defensive coaches, from what I've seen so far, have done a pretty nice job.
Is this Jalen Smith's last camp?
I will guess yes.
I would think so, too.
Yeah,
I would think so, too.
Can the Cowboys afford to watch Randy Gregory blow up and then let him walk in free agency after all these years and all this investment? Could that happen?
It could happen, and, maybe I'm the crazy one. I'm not the crazy one. They should be trying to get a deal done today with Randy Gregory. If you listen to the interview he had with us, I don't want to say nobody can ever have a slip-up or make a mistake or whatever, but I don't think Randy is a risk to be suspended for the reasons he's been suspended before. I just don't think he is. And I also don't think the league cares to suspend you for what he's been suspended before. So if you believe in his health and that he's got something left in the tank for, say, the next 3 years, I think you would be smart to get out in front of that, because I really believe a double-digit sack season's coming. And when other teams do their due diligence and actually visit with Randy, they're going to see the same thing. There's going to be teams that are going to remember the combine and be like, oh, he's the weed head and he won't be available. And they're going to be like, holy crap, this is a different person. He got how many sacks? He looks how good on tape? And we just talked to him. He's going to get a ton of money.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think, to me, I know I went under on the 8 sacks. I hope it's over that. But I also hope that when Stephen Jones and when we get an opportunity to talk to him, that do you think about that? Do you think about like projecting where Randy Gregory could fit for you going forward here?
Yeah, I saw it. I looked it up, and Jeff, you're pretty good at this cap. I don't know if you've been looking at next March already, but they're headed for potentially 22 over, I think, March 1st. Is this going to be a cap casualty reset off season? They're not going to be spending big on incoming free agents, but are they going to lose key guys, Gallup, Gregory, and so forth?
We'd have to look at guys that you can also make room with.
Van
Like, what do
Der
you
Esch,
say
too.
with Jalen? Van Der Esch wouldn't be on
good.
that, though. I guess you'd have to look into what can they do to save dollars.
Yeah.
Like, no, I'm not going to say Amari Cooper. Keep Coop unless something
Prescott.
bad happens. Prescott? Are you going to get rid of him?
No, I mean, I'm talking about you could probably flip something in his contract.
Flip switches.
Flip switches to get his money, yeah.
I mean, but Tyron and Zach are now over 30, and you're like, if you flip switches on that, you might be thinking, oh, my goodness,
I'll
we
tell
really
you
set
this,
ourselves
though,
up
if all the great things we're talking about Tyron Smith, and it turns out to be, only 4 or 5 games, I think you have to consider moving on from there, too.